Okay, well, I'm going to do this one on simplicity versus stuff. I'm kind of a minimalist. I've always been that way. I mean, even in my youth, before I met Amen, I was looking at how simple I could live. I was building this little tiny sailboat, how little I'd have to work to maintain my space. And uh, and now, after 20 years of living on the road with just a sleeping bag and no shoes, and very thankful for that life and everything coming to me as I needed it. Uh, it's the richest life I know on the planet, actually, as far as the freedom of not dealing with stuff, that the world is full of. But here I am now. I've been living here over 30 years. And I mean, even just in this little back of the bus here, most of the things I had, that little boat there, that picture over there, the lantern, and everything else I've got stacked all over the place here, has been gifts, and they're all remembrances and good feelings. And so, I mean, it's a little bit more work to dust the place. And I've acquired all these things, and now I'm doing the posts, the podcasts, and that required stuff which I really resisted. I have a little truck. I have a set of tools for carpentry work and other things, and on and on. And then there's the property here, which at times I've been here almost by myself, and it's near an acre with a lot of trees, fruit trees, gardens, everything. And and I'm a minimalist. I still am that way totally. I mean, even amongst the family, I've managed to probably have a little less than most everybody. Not everybody. There's a few people probably got less than me. I mean, because there's brothers without vehicles, and that's huge. And and then I've been in the bus here, and it's pretty. It looks lived in, but I keep it clean and sharp enough to when you look in here, it's a little jewel box, and and I've got the shelves, and I've got underneath storage over there, and I've even got some storage in the front of the bus, clothes and whatever's come in. Most of it would be things I could easily walk away from. Oh my goodness, yes, and and most of it's saved for not for me personally. But I have more clothes than I need, and here I am. I'm a person who walked barefoot and still does in our yard. Feel very comfortable to walk barefoot most of the time. And yet I've got, I don't know how many shoes now. Of course, I play pickleball, but then there's, I don't know. I haven't counted them recently. I don't throw them away unless they're shot. And I save old pickleball shoes for working. And I've got, on and on. In the United States right now, if you have a place, things just pack. They pile up. And I'm sure everybody can relate to that, unless you're constantly making sure it doesn't pile up too much. But the point of the whole thing that I'm really wanting to relate here is the joy of not having a cluttered space. Because everything that's within our stewardship it's up here. Even if we don't think about it, it's there. It's a reflection of what we're holding in our head. And I've watched over the years, people either who don't take care of their stuff and it becomes a mess. It's up here like that. And gets too cluttered. People use a lot of stuff a lot of times as a barrier, actual protection, because it has that effect. I mean, a vehicle has that effect. Things have those effects. And yet, as much as I am a minimalist, Amen has definitely pushed me to be able to handle more things without complaining. And, the majority of what I take care of is not for me. I mean, I've walked through questioning Amen many times about, why am I taking care of all this stuff and it doesn't seem like it's even serving that many people. I could use my time better. But the bottom line is this. I know myself, and I know I wouldn't create an environment that had a lot of things to take care of other than to do it for the Lord. That's me. And so, like, when you're like myself and you are a minimalist and the Lord calls you to a place, well, there's a freedom in that, because now you're not doing it for the wrong reasons. And even though I've griped a little bit and complained a little bit, whined is a better word. I know better. I do know better. And I know I offer up my life every day to the Father, and there's certain things that I recognize that I am in where He wants me to be. But the bottom line that I would relate, that I think that anybody really looks at things can relate to, and especially as we get older, if you're in a landed place, less is more. Less is more, because all these things have to be tended. Every single thing that you have within your domain has to be tended. Even if it's just a warehouse, a storage place, you got to pay them. And then you have it in your mind. Every month the bill comes in. And you're going to have to take care of that. So all that is, I've watched people pay for storage for crazy amounts of time for stuff that in no way was worthy. As just an example of all the things that we can do to surround ourselves with stuff instead of, and what happens is, if it isn't serving the Father, and of course we're always talking from a place of faith here, we're always doing the best that we know and understand, but if it isn't serving the Father, then it's taking up space that would be serving in a higher place. And so, yeah, freedom, man, freedom to live in the moment without being cluttered in your head. And, one of the things that happens in time, the less things that I have to concern myself with, of course, the more time I got. Now I have free time. And if I'm the kind of person who's going to use that time to serve others and to be present for others, and just even to be able to relax and listen to someone and be there for them, yeah, that's a good thing. The other side of it is, taking on things that serve the kingdom, that serve other people, that are not about yourself. Well, it keeps you busy. And being busy for the Lord is good. Keeps you out of trouble. Basic mental laziness and just sitting around and there's times to go inside, and then it's good to have a real simple place where you can do that. And that's beautiful. And then that's when you're receiving inwardly. But staying busy in this world, amen's definitely into that. Working. Physically. Taking care of business, taking care of others. Yeah. And of course, I rode on a bike one year, and I got my bike tuned up, and that way I didn't need very much to do on my own bike. So when I met people who had tools and they needed to work, I could go there and work on their bike. It's an analogy, a parable to keeping things simple and not having those things on your mind so that you have more space to serve. And then the freedom of it, oh my goodness. Anybody who's walked in a white robe and bare feet, no shoes, or gone out in faith, just go out in faith in super simplicity, trusting in the Father to lead them and to provide for them and protect them, and not have to carry the implements of those things with you, because the Lord's going to be there, or you're checking them out to find out, and then you do know, because He proves it to you. That the freedom of that, oh my goodness, what a blessing. That's a foundational thing that most people in this world have no clue to. Even the people in the streets. I meet them all the time. Here you are living homeless, or without a house. And you're going to carry all that stuff? Got big shopping carts and dragging all this stuff with you. I understand it gets cold. I've lived out here with you guys. I got the picture. I just had a sleeping bag and an army blanket. And the comfort of not having all that stuff, oh my goodness, huge. And I can jump in a car, I can go in an airplane, I can go anywhere, anytime with this little gear that I have. I'm mobile. Somebody can invite me in their house and I don't got a bunch of crap with me. Simple. And that's people on the streets that don't have that. When I see a brother out there or a sister and they got it down zen and clean, you go, okay, you caught that one. Sure. In a backpack, a nice clean backpack with not too much stuff in it. I mean, that's reasonable. You're mobile. You're mobile and you got things clean and set up. Oh, yeah, man. Makes a huge difference of your, and then you take that into, people living in houses. And all the houses that I've been in, oh my goodness. I mean, ranging from people who have been, really, really got it down, simple, clean, easy to take care of as possible, to cluttered and a little chaotic, to extremities of like, wow, I don't know how anybody lives like this. And yet people get used to it. That's their norm. They feel protected by all their stuff. So yeah, simplicity becomes a state of mind that you, once you've experienced it, we're talking things, because things reflect into our mind. If you're working simple and generating into a more simpler in things, your mind becomes less cluttered. And so it's more open and more in the moment. Don't have to deal in time as much, for one thing. Now, I have a constant struggle with that myself, taking care of things. I have to always remind myself that what I'm taking care of belongs to our Father. And He's going to have His way. So it's going to be taken care of. That keeping things in order. Someone comes in and it's time to drop whatever I'm doing and give, my space to them, to listen and be with them. That's always been a little bit of a struggle for me because, once I get going, I don't want to stop. And sometimes you're not supposed to. But the space, oh yeah. And that's a generation. And, amen would generate a lot of times. It's like, the more that people would share things, that are needed. Like if you had a farm and you have a tractor and you can lend your tractor to the farmer next door and share it. It's a shared tractor now. You're both taking care of it. You're both using it. That helps simplify things. Whereas in this world, everybody's got to have their own space, man. And, as I wrap all these things out, it hits me always. I know I can get more, better at all of it. I listen to my own posts, and it's an unquestionable witness because these are the things that, progressively I'm working on, I'm increasing in, because the Lord's shown me. Amen.